Hey, Miss Kim,
Yes, I'm here.
your phone number so I can give you a call in quorum too.
Okay, 707-409-4431. Okay, I'll call you later, okay? Okay. Thank you. I'll see you at 11.
Ah. Okay. Let's see now. Miss Kim is here. Miss Casey Strong, you're here. Good. And courtroom 2. All right. Do we have our prosecutors here? Miss Falk?
Okay.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. All right. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we are going to begin with our state all-purpose calendar for today, December 10th, 2024. This is with the State Court of Fulton County. The cases scheduled for today are involving defendants whose cases have already been formally accused, bonds have already been set, and today we're going to get a status of the case as to how they would like to move forward. Some of these cases may engage in what we call a plea hearing, in which the defendant is agreeing to plead guilty or no contest to some, if not all, the charges in exchange for a recommended sentence from the prosecutor. With regards to other defendants, they may enter a plea of not guilty and the cases will be scheduled for trial. Furthermore, other matters we may possibly address are bond modifications, bench warrants, then which individuals have filed motions to set aside, as well. I think those are the only matters we're going to be addressing today. Okay. All right. So if you are a defendant who is charged with a misdemeanor offense, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Okay, let's begin with courtroom 2. Who do we have? Deputy in courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor. You can start with position number 14 and 15, 14 through 16, Sherman Carl.
Sherman Carl, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right, Mr. Carl is positions 14 through 16. All right. And Miss Kim, is Mr. White representing him today?
Yes, I
All right.
believe.
All right, I don't see Mr. White on the Zoom.
I'm gonna text him because he was supposed to be at the courtroom too.
I didn't know he was coming in today.
Every Tuesday he comes. I go on Thursday.
All right. Deputy, we are still waiting on his attorney to be there. So can we address someone who's represented by Miss Kim? Which would be position 3 or... Oh, position 3 is going to be reset to December 17th. Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, sir. You want to run the court? Okay, so
Gabrielle Carter is going to be reset to December 17th next week.
okay, we can go to position 29 to 30 and
Okay.
view.
All right. Position 29 and 30, that's Emzel Woods.
Yes.
All right. As soon as Mr. White comes in, we can get started with his cases as well. All right. This is State versus Emzel Woods. Mr. Woods has 2 cases before us, 24 CR 4072F, in which he's charged with criminal trespass from June 23rd of this year. He has a bench warrant from also June 24th. I'm not sure, but case number 24 FTA 1860. Mr. Woods, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, this is a negotiated plea. Ms. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Woods, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Please unmute courtroom 2.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You may put your hand down. All right, Ms. Falk, I think that's a message from you from Mr. Kilgore. Okay. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation for Mr. Woods?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation on this case is 12 months served 36 days, credit for time served 18 days. That's from June 23rd, 2024 to June 25th, 2024, and November 26th, 2024 to today. We do have a note that states that the victim stated there was an amount of damage to his property. I'm just checking to see if the receipts were sent. But we would ask that let me see, okay, we don't have any receipts at this time. So we would ask the balance be suspended, stay away from 714 Emily Place in Atlanta, no further contact with Nicole Jory, Karina Stiven, and Eric Lozia. I believe Mr. Nikhil Jory is present and on the Zoom, so we would like, if he wants to speak, he can unmute himself and speak at this time. And we do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea.
Ms. Kim, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do.
All right. Nicole Jory, if you're on Zoom, please unmute and start your video. All right, I don't see anyone here by that name. Mr. Woods, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your cases?
No.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Are you satisfied with your legal services?
ma'am.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to this charge, you will be giving up your constitutional right to a trial? You will not have the opportunity to go back to court to challenge your the evidence presented before you, confront your accuser, present any defenses and arguments, and have the state prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights? Are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 36 days, credit for time served 18 days, balance suspended. Your sentence for this case is concluded. However, you're required to stay away from 714 Emily Place in Atlanta, Georgia. You're to stay 200 yards away from that location. You're also to have no contact with Nicole Jory, Karina Stiven, and Eric Loazia. If you attempt to communicate with any of these individuals, or if you're at their property, you will be arrested again. The bench warrant will be null prost. Thank you.
Thorough. Mr. Carl, you can come back up. Your Honor, we go back to position number 14 through 16.
Yes, ma'am. This is Sherman Carl. And he has 1, 2, 3 matters on the calendar this morning. 24 CR 5824D, in which he's accused of criminal trespass from August 3rd of this year. 24 CR 7804D, in which he's accused of criminal trespass from November 25th of this year. And he's got a bench warrant, 24 FTA 1836 from November 12th, 2024. Mr. Carl, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Tom White. Mr. White, this is going to be a plea?
It is, Judge. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
It was insane.
No problem. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. In position 14, the recommendation is 12 months served 36 days, credit for time served 18 days. That's going to be from August 3rd to August 4th, 2024, and November 25th, 2024 until today. Stay away from the Atlanta Public Schools located at 545 Hill Street in Atlanta, and 40 hours of community service. On position 15, it is going to be 12 months served 36 days, credit for time served 16 days, balance probated concurrent with the previous case. Stay away from Barack and Michelle Obama Academy located at 970 Martin Street in Atlanta. And on position 16, the state will be entering a null pros upon the plea on 14 and 15. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea. That's all for the state.
So stipulated, Your Honor. We have nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Carl, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your two cases?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you lower your mask a little so I can see your eyes? I mean, I'm not certain his face is entirely covered.
He can't do that. Your Honor, there's a reason he has a mask on. He can't bring the mask down.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Mr. Carl, are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these two child cases, you will have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury? You will not have the opportunity to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present your defenses in a court of law, and have the state prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 2 counts of criminal trespass, one from August 3rd and one from November 25th of this year?
Yes.
For the August 3rd incident, your sentence is 12 months to serve 36 days, credit for time served 18 days, balance probated. You will report to the Fulton County Probation on Monday. Yeah, on Monday, which will be December 16th, before 3 p.m. The probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at a rate of 5 hours per month. And you are to stay away from the Atlanta Public Schools at 545 Hill Street in Atlanta, Georgia. With regards to the November 25th trespass, your sentence is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days, concurrent with the previous case. In that matter, you are to stay away from Barack and Michelle Obama Academy at 970 Martin Street in Southeast Atlanta. Any objection to non-reporting once the community service is completed?
Yes, Your Honor, we do object to non-reporting. The defendant has a history of criminal trespass.
All right. We tried. All right, Mr. Carl, you will have to report to probation every month, even after you've completed your 40 hours of community service, to make sure that you stay away from the locations in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We can go,
Bench warrant is null prost.
next we can go to position 17 through 18, Mr. Ronald Lee.
Okay.
And then is Kim to give forward to a call at 22060?
Sure.
This is State versus Ronald Lee, who's got 2 matters before us, 24 CR 180F. He's accused of willful obstruction of an officer, driving while license suspended, and possession and use of drug-related objects from January 8th, 2024. Mr. Lee also has a bench warrant, 24 FTA 1850, from May 7th of this year.
Big chair.
All right, Mr. Lee, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. White. And may I place you under oath for the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
No.
You need to repeat. Do you so swear?
I do.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Fulk, what's the recommendation?
State's recommendation on the willful obstruction is 12 months served 36 days, credit for time served 18 days, from January 8th to January 10th, 2024, November 26th, 2024 until today. Balance probated, $300 fine, 40 hours of community service. Count 2, the driving while license suspended, 12 months served concurrent with count 1, a $500 fine, and count 3 is 12 months concurrent with count 1, ADET. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea.
Stipulate, Your Honor. We would just ask the probation terminator go non-reporting once he completes all of his conditions.
Any objection, Ms. Fulk?
Sorry, I missed that.
Non-reporting or terminate?
I am agreeable to non-reporting, not to termination.
Okay. Mr. Lee, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
If you decide to enter this plea, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the chance to confront your accuser, be able to challenge the evidence brought against you, present your defenses and arguments, and have the state prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to willful obstruction, driving while license suspended, and possession and use of drug-related objects?
Guilty.
Your sentence for the willful obstruction is 12 months to serve 36 days. Credit for time served 18 days. If you have no other holds, you will report to the Fulton County Probation on Monday, December 16th before 3 p.m. While you're on probation, you will pay a $300 fine at a rate of $30 per month, minimum payment of $30 per month, and complete 40 hours of community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. And the 40 hours must be done at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month. For count 2, driving while license suspended or revoked is 12 months concurrent with count 1, and you have an additional fine of $50, which you must pay at a rate of $50 per month. So your monthly obligation will be $80 per month towards your fines until the entire fine of $800 is paid off. For count 3, it'll be 12 months concurrent with count 1, and you'll be required to undergo an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment as required. And you will do this within 20 days of being released. You must show proof that you've underwent the evaluation to your probation officer by your second visit. After you've done the community service and paid off the fine and completed the terms of your alcohol and drug evaluation, and if your probation fees are up to date, then your probation will be non-reporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thorough.
Do we have a case at South Annex? Deputy, or are we still in courtroom 2?
We're still in courtroom 2,
Okay.
I'm not sure who that talking.
That's
That
why
is,
I didn't talk.
South Annex has position 4 and 5, and if they could give us a phone number so we can call them, so Mr. Tom could talk to his client.
All right.
But in the meantime, we can go to position number 24, Mr. St. Hilaire.
All right. Is that Miss Kim's cases?
No, that's.
Those are Mr. Kelbaw's.
All right. In the meantime, the deputy at South Annex, if you could call courtroom 2, the defendant may be able to speak to attorney Tom White.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
The number is, the extension is 22060.
Can you repeat that?
22060.
Absolutely.
All right, we are addressing position 24, Ruben St. Hilaire, accused of criminal trespass from July 26, 2024. Case number 24 CR 5194H. Mr. Mr. St. Hilaire, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. William Kilgore. Do you see your attorney? He's on the screen in a vehicle, waving his hand. Okay, good. Mr. Kilgore, how are we proceeding in this case?
Your Honor, Mr. St. Hilaire wishes to enter a no-low plea. I have not had a chance to speak with Ms. Falk about a negotiated no-low plea. He's been continuously incarcerated since July 27th. We're prepared to go forward, not negotiated. It's a criminal trespass case.
All right. We'll do non-negotiated then. Mr. St. Hilaire, please raise your right hand for purposes of this plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? You need to say yes or no.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, this is going to be a non-negotiated plea. What's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation on this is 12 months served, 274 days, credit for time served, 137 days. That's from July 27th, 2024 until today. Balance probated, anti-theft course, 40 hours of community service. Stay away from 741 Morosco Drive in Atlanta. No further contact with Trina Bell. We would like to sound for Miss Trina Bell. I would like to say the state does object to a NOLO, and if Your Honor, either I can read his history into the record, or if you prefer, pretrial can, but he has a lengthy history, multi-state offender with burglary offenses. Quite frankly, I sent this up as a burglary and it was rejected, although I still strongly believe this was a burglary case. The reason he's been in jail for so long is because of a probation violation on 23 SC 186-209, where he was revoked for 9 months.
And does he have any other open felony cases at the present time?
Let me answer that, Your Honor. Let's see. He has a 23 SC 186-209 case for multiple counts of identity fraud, possession of marijuana less than with intent to distribute, excuse me.
That's the probation case, no?
That is, but I don't believe his probation was revoked in full on that case. I can double check, but I don't think his probation was revoked and closed. I just think it was revoked.
I can on that.
And how many cycles does he have?
Your Honor, he has, let me just go back to my other screen. Let's see. In Georgia, he currently has 50 cycles.
That's good enough. Thank you. Mr. Kilbo, what is the alternative recommendation?
Your Honor, we've asked that he be sentenced to serve the time that he's already served in jail and that the case terminate. The reason for this is the case number that Ms. Falk cited, the 23 SC 186-209. On that case, he has been revoked for 18 months to be sent to the
RSAT.
RSAT. So he's sitting in jail waiting for a bed in RSAT, basically. And I've spoken with a couple of different solicitors that in the case was in the division about him possibly being able to participate in diversion through PAD. And he wants to do that. He's been homeless and addicted to drugs, and he wants help with these things. And because of this RSAT hold, it's just not practical that he could be released on signature bond and then participate in the diversion program. So alternatively, we just asked that he be sentenced to time served. We're asking for a NOLO plea because of the felony probation that is still technically outstanding, even though he's been revoked for 18 months. There is a balance beyond that 18 months that this would technically be a violation of. And that's why we're asking for the NOLO. And
Your Honor,
wants the help.
Understood.
And Your Honor, if I may add, the defendant is also on open probation on 20 SC 177062, which is aggravated assault, theft by taking, theft by shoplifting, and terroristic threats. In the state's opinion, he has done absolutely nothing to earn a NOLO on this.
All right. Mr. Kilbo, I'm familiar with this case, and if your client would like to take a guilty plea, I'll dispense with the anti-theft class and the 40 hours community service, but I'll require him to be on probation after he's done with our programs. And this would be concurrent with with his current felony probation. So he will serve out the rest of the time while he's in jail. No further contact with Trina Bell, and stay away from 741 Morosco Drive. I'm dispensing with the anti-theft class and the 40 hours community service.
I believe Mr. St. Hilaire, if he's not able to enter the NOLO plea, then we just ask for the case to be transferred back to the division.
All right. Will you be filing a waiver of arraignment, or would you like me to arraign the case?
I believe that's already been done, but if not, I'll check the system. If it's not there, I'll file it.
All right. So if it's not there, please file a waiver of arraignment and the case is further notice for trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Your Honor, we can go to, South Annex.
Okay. South Annex and Mr. White, who's your client there?
Mr. Clark, Your Honor, and that's a negotiated plea.
Is this Jaden Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
4, 5. All right, Mr. Clark, good morning. My name is Judge Law. We are going to be addressing 2 of your cases. Please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this morning is going to be Mr. White. He's got 2 matters, 24 CR 1191C, accused of theft by shoplifting and willful obstruction from March 13th, 2024, and he has a bench warrant 24 FTA 1858 from August 14th, 2024. For purposes of the plea, Mr. Clark, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. On position number 4 on the theft by shoplifting, state's recommendation is 12 months served, 46 days credit for time served, 23 days. That's going to be from March 13th to March 20th, 2024, and then November 26th, 2024 until today. Stay away from the racetrack located at 2645 Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, an anti-theft course, and 40 hours of community service. Count 2, the state is agreeable to time served, 46 days, credit for time served, 23 days. On the failure to appear, the state is null processing that case upon the acceptance of this plea. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea. That's all for the state.
Your Honor, we do stipulate, for the purpose of the plea, we would ask the probation terminate once it completes all of his requirements.
I'll do non-reporting unless the state objects.
We agree to non-reporting, not to termination.
Okay. Mr. Clark, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
Oh, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your cases?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your legal services?
I am.
Has it been explained to you that if you enter this plea to the position number 4, you would have to give up your right to a trial in the future? You will not get a chance to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence that will be brought before you, present your arguments and defenses, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
I am.
Repeat. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting and 1 count of obstruction of an officer from March 13th of this year?
How do you plead?
Guilty.
Guilty or not?
I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, someone was talking over you. How do you plead?
Guilty.
For the theft by shoplifting, your sentence is 12 months to serve 46 days, credit for time served 23 days. The remainder of the time will be on probation. And while you're on probation, you are to stay away from the racetrack gas station at 2645 Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, Georgia. You're also to enroll in an anti-theft class, which you shall do within 45 days of being released. You're also required to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. The community service must be done at the minimum rate of 5 hours per month. Your probation will be non-reporting as long as you have done the anti-theft class, you have done your 40 hours community service, and all your probation fees are up to date. Then your probation will be non-reporting. For count 2, your sentence is time served, 46 days, to serve 46 days, credit for time served 23 days, which means that your jail time for count 2 is concluded. Your bench warrant will be dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Report to probation on Monday, December 16th before 3 p.m. Thank you.
We could go to ACDC, Your Honor.
All
I
right,
don't, I believe they did not hear their rights.
all right. Francois, are you there, ACTC?
Yes, good
There
morning,
she is.
Judge.
Good morning, good morning. All right, for the ladies at ACDC, my name is Judge Lal. We're going to be addressing each of your cases. Please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and one will be appointed to represent you if you cannot afford one. Who do we have first?
It's going to be position number 19, Nakisha Lucas.
Your Honor, this one, she was not clear which option she was going to choose, so I have to confirm with her. So can I talk to her first later?
All right,
Call her later after I'm done with other people.
all right. Let's do the other case, and Miss Kim will then call ACDC to speak with Miss Lucas.
Okay, I also have position 20, Tiana Lucas or Tina Lucas.
All right,
And this is negotiated plea, Your Honor.
all right. And there's no relation between the two Lucases there?
No.
No,
Right,
Judge.
coinkydink. Okay. Tina Lucas is 24 CR 7797B. Miss Lucas, you've been accused of 4 misdemeanor offenses: giving false information to an officer, willful obstruction of an officer, misdemeanor possession of marijuana, and giving a false name address to an officer. Incident date is November 22nd, 2024. You've been advised of your rights, and Miss Kim is going to be your counsel. May I place you under oath for purposes of your plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Repeat, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation?
State's recommendation on the giving false information to a law enforcement officer is 12 months to run concurrent with count 2. Willful obstruction, count 2, 12 months served, 36 days, credit for time served, 18 days from November 23rd, 2024 until today. Balance probated, a $300 fine, 40 hours of community service. Count 3 will be null prost. Count 4, the giving false name, is going to be 12 months concurrent with count 2. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea. That's all for the state.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, we do like to actually stipulate. Only thing is though about $300 fine. She is currently unemployed. She was wondering if it can be changed to 30 hours of additional community service.
She's 27, 28 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
I can waive probation fees for up to 2 months, and then she will need to get a job and start paying these fines.
Thank you.
But I'm not amending it. All right. Miss Lucas, that is the court's ruling on, excuse me. How would you like to, would you still like to move forward with this plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Miss Lucas, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And Ms. Lucas, if you decide to enter a guilty plea to 3 of these charges, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, which means that you will not be able to go back to court in the future to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence that we brought before you, have your attorney help you to present your defenses and arguments, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of giving false information to an officer, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and giving a false name, address, or birth date to a law enforcement officer?
No solo.
I'm sorry?
No solo.
I don't understand what you just said. No solo? I don't understand what that means.
I thought it was the way. What'd you say, Kim?
How
No
do you
local-
plead?
Huh?
Miss Kim, is your client trying to enter a nolo contendere, a nolo plea?
I guess that's what she wants to do. But yesterday when we,
That's basically saying not guilty, right? I mean, it's basically saying guilty, right? Like,
Ms. Falk, is the plea
okay, guilty.
recommendation based on a nolo plea or is it based on a guilty plea?
It was not, and Miss
Guilty
Petey Kim is
plea.
pretty good about letting me know, so I just think this is something that came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss
If you get guilty
Tina,
plea,
Miss Tina Lucas, were you intending to file plead a no contest to these charges?
I thought it was the same thing, but you know, if y'all want me to say not guilty, I mean guilty.
I'm
then
sorry,
guilty.
could you sit back and then speak clearly? Okay.
Just guilty, guilty,
How do you plead to the 3 charges I've just listed?
guilty.
For count 1, it's going to be 12 months to serve concurrent with count 2. For count 4, that's going to be 12 months to be served concurrent with count 2. With regards to count 2, willful obstruction of an officer, your sentence is 12 months to serve 36 days, credit for time served 18 days. You'll be released within 24 hours, but you must report to Fulton County Probation on Monday, December 16th before 3 p.m. The probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will pay a fine of $300 at a minimum rate of $30 per month. And you can begin that with the 3rd month of probation while you look for a job. On the 40 hours of community service, you will complete the 40 hours at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school, and you must complete that at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month. Your first 2 months of probation fees are waived, so you don't have to pay probation fees for December and January 2025. Beginning February 1st, 2025, you will start paying off your fine at the rate of $30 per month, and you will also start paying probation fees. You will report to probation every month until the sentence is completed. Thank you. Yes,
It's only for a year, right? I'm on probation for a year.
your probation will be for 1 year less 18 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, Ms. Kim, I think you need to speak to the other Miss Lucas at ACDC.
yes.
Courtroom
Are
2.
you able to call now, Ms. Kim, or you want us to
Yeah,
wait?
would you please call me or I can call right now?
Okay, I'll give you a call now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Courtroom 2, do we have Miss Lauren Brown, Attorney Lauren Brown's client in the courtroom?
Her client.
Oh,
Good morning, Judge. I'm here for Adani Cortez.
that would be positions 6 and 7. Adahi Cortez Vasquez. Is that who it is?
Is it Cortes?
I have Cores. Let me see it. I don't have
That could be. A lot of the
Cortez.
names get confused.
Didn't say private attorney on the top. I didn't know. So you can make that.
Let me
Judge,
see.
you're gonna have to, we weren't aware that there was a private attorney in the case, so they're gonna have to go get him.
All right. All right, counsel. I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
Lauren Brown.
All right, sir. All right, Mr. Brown, if you please hold, we'll have to have your client brought into the courtroom.
About
Okay. Do we have any cases involving Mr. White in courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor, we can go to position number 11, Mr. Freeman.
Okay. If you just give me 30 seconds, I just need to make a report in another courtroom. Please hold. Getting back to the SAP calendar, who do we have in courtroom 2?
Position number 11, Mr. Freeman.
All right. This is State versus Montreal Freeman. Mr. Freeman's. And Miss Kim, have you completed your conversation with Miss Lucas?
Yes.
All right. Montreal Freeman's case is 24 CR 76858D, accused of battery and theft by taking from November 4th, 2024. Mr. Freeman, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Tom White. And this is going to be a waiver of arraignment, and he wants to address bond. Mr. White, are you submitting that waiver?
I am, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, what's his current bond, please?
It's a $3,000 cash bond, Your Honor.
Is it 1,500 on each count?
I believe it's 2 and 1. I don't have that information in front of me. I don't remember.
All right, not a problem. I'm just trying to flip to the next window to pull up that case. But go ahead and tell me, why are we seeking a modification?
Because we're just asking to convert this to a surety bond. My understanding is that Mr. Freeman has had no violent arrests, save maybe something when he was in high school. He does have a record from out of state. We know the state's going to bring that up, but for several years he's been has had no issues. He is working. He's been at the same job for over 4 months now. He has a fiance and family in the area, and we're just not asking for a signature bond. We just ask this bond be converted to a surety bond.
All right.
And
Do we have a?
I'm sorry, Judge, and I forgot. My information is also that the alleged victim, will be on, my understanding is that she states that what's alleged, that what's alleged is untrue. And it's another reason that we think that, at the very least, the case should be converted to,
All right. Miss, I'm trying to see my pretrial officer on board, and that would be Miss York, Mr. York. Mr. York, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right, sir. We have Montreal Freeman, who was given a $3,000 cash bond at his first appearance by yours truly. What is his GCIC like?
So I'm showing 2 cycles out of Georgia. It's like no convictions, felony nor misdemeanor. I have a cycle out of Louisiana that appears to be open. It's Webster, Louisiana, from February 28th, 2024. Illegal possession of stolen firearm and possession of firearm or carrying concealed weapon by a person convicted of certain felonies. But for some reason, it looks like I'm missing something, because it appears that he has a Wisconsin history as well, but I don't have that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. York.
Yes,
Ms. Hall?
ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor, I have his Wisconsin history. He has, out of Wisconsin, he is on his 15th cycle. Most recent arrest was March 23, 2023 for possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of THC. Prior to that, he had a probation violation. Well, he had an arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of cocaine. In 2020, he had a probation violation in 2019, felony warrant arrest in 2019, a prison sentence of 3 years for harboring a felon, probation violation, robbery by use of force, where he was deemed habitual criminality. And before that, a robbery by force conviction. And it looks like he was also sentenced to 2 years, 6 months for theft and armed robbery. I'm not sure how Milwaukee's system works, because that would have been a 10-year sentence here. He also has a robbery a battery conviction in 2010 with a theft conviction. And I'm not sure, there was a robbery by force charge, but it doesn't show what the disposition was on that charge. So there is a lengthy history of violence. He is wanted out of Wisconsin. And in this case, it is alleged that he beat the victim with a broom and choked her. And she did provide his information. She also said he took her iPhone and her wallet that had money in it. She stated she had to fight him off, and he choked her, beat her with a broomstick, left lacerations on her hands as she tried to block herself from being hit, and threatened to shoot her house up, which would, be in violation of the fact that he is a convicted felon multiple times over. So I believe that is why Your Honor gave him a bond of $2,500 on the battery and $500 on the criminal trespass as a cash bond, because he not only has no ties with the community, he has a lengthy and violent criminal history, which would indicate a risk of reoffense, and he is a danger to this victim. We would like to sound for her. She is present today. Let's see. Her name is Miss Keys. First name is Keyshawn Keys. So if Miss Keys is here, if you could please respond. If you would like to speak, please unmute yourself and turn your video on.
Okay, my video should be on, and I believe that I am unmuted.
All right,
Okay.
Ms. Keys, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you provide will be the truth, subject to the rules of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to tell us?
Okay, so I would like to say that so the theft by taking, I think that should be dismissed, because I did find my iPhone. I did find my wallet. When the police came, the ambulance came, I was outside across the way. I was hyperventilating, you know what I'm saying? I did, I was at that point, I was out of it. So I didn't look over there to see if my phone and my wallet was there, because I thought it was in the house. But me, hyperventilating and couldn't contain my emotions, I would say. I ended up finding my stuff across exactly where I was laying when the officer came.
Okay.
So I do believe that should be dropped, because I have found the money, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything was in the wallet like it was supposed to be. Like, it just wasn't in the house, so I was worried. But when I did go outside, I did find it. And I did, explain that.
Anything else?
Yes, I would also like to say that, so, we've never been through anything like this. It was, a misunderstanding.
How long have you known him?
I've known him since June.
Since when?
June.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you didn't know him in Louisiana, you didn't know him in Wisconsin?
No, ma'am.
All right. Anything else you want to add to this?
Just that we've never been through anything like this before, and I really do feel like it was a misunderstanding.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. White, anything else to add? I'm sorry, you're on mute, Mr. White?
Sorry, Judge. Obviously, the state stated he had no ties to the community. Well, Ms. Key is one tie. We also mentioned that he is working. He also has other family in the community. So he does have ties to the community. And at least one part of the case submitted by the defendant is inaccurate. So we would ask for
Which part?
She just said that nothing was stolen. That she
Oh,
found-
no,
found-
I don't know about that. I'm going to address that in my bond, but I'm saying, is there any inaccuracies with regards to his GCIC, his holds, his multi-state felony conviction record, anything to that effect?
Judge, some of the cases that said were still open, we believe are closed.
Okay.
But beyond that, no.
I'll amend the theft by taking to a $500 signature bond through the jail. The battery charge, $2,500 cash bond remains in place. Mr. Freeman has a significant history of violence, also a significant history of blatant disregard of rules with regards to especially firearms, theft, and acts of violence. So I don't believe that Mr. Freeman qualifies for a surety bond, much less a signature bond.
We didn't have a signature bond, Judge.
Okay, from this point onward, Mr. Freeman, you are still on notice that you are to have no contact with Ms. Keys. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, and you're to stay away from the incident location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. Case is going to be further noticed for trial, and a waiver will be found. Thank you.
Judge, I have one more question.
Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said about the theft by taking bond. I'm sorry.
I've amended it to a signature bond through the jail, so he won't have to pay for the bond on the theft by taking, but he
Okay.
has to pay for the bond and the battery, and he's
Yes,
still
ma'am.
in contact with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Miss Lucas, who is at ACDC.
Yes, Your Honor, this will be negotiated plea, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I can't see to.
What position is this?
19. This is State versus Nakisha Lucas, accused of possession and use of drug-related objects and criminal trespass. Case number 24CR7921C from December 1st of this year. Ms. Lucas, you've been advised of your rights, and Ms. Kim is your appointed counsel. This is going to be a plea. Ms. Lucas, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. On this case, the state's recommendation is going to be on the possession and use of drug-related objects, 12 months served, 16 days, credit for time served, 8 days, balance probated, ADET. On count 2, the criminal trespass, 12 months concurrent with count 1, stay away from the Valero gas station located at 5022 Old National Highway in College Park. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea, and that's all for the state.
Ms. Kim, do you so stipulate?
Yes, we do.
Ms. Lucas, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
Has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these charges, you give up your right to a trial, to confront your accuser, challenge evidence that would be brought before you, present your arguments and defenses in a court of law, and have the state carry its burden and prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to possession and use of drug-related objects and criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence for the drug-related object is 12 months to serve 16 days, credit for time served 8 days, and you will then report to, so your jail time is concluded, but you report to probation on Monday, December 16th, before 3 p.m. While on probation, you will enroll and complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required at your expense. This evaluation must be done within 15 days of being released. On count 2 is 12 months concurrent with count 1, and you are not to return to the Valero gas station at 5022 Old National Highway in College Park. If you return to that location, including the sidewalk, the parking lot, and the facilities, you will be arrested again. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have Mr. Cortez Vasquez here, position 6 and 7 for the private attorney.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, would you need to speak to your client?
Not for the purposes of, I guess, handling the issue of the bench warrant, Judge.
All right, so this is State versus Adahi Cortez Vasquez, 23 CR 6854H. He's accused of criminal trespass causing damage to property and simple assault family violence from November 1st, 2023. He has a bench warrant for failure to appear in court on August 23rd, 2024, under 24 FTA 1851. I understand the case was reset from last week for the state to confer with the victim. Mr. Cortez Vasquez, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Brown, Lauren Brown. Yes, Mr. Brown, what's the issue with the bench warrant?
Thank you, Judge. Of course, this case has a little bit of age on it, which is not uncommon. What is slightly uncommon about Mr. Cortez Vasquez's situation is after posting his bond, he was duly picked up by immigration and he has been housed in an ICE facility here in the state of Georgia for a little over 11 months. That case is still ongoing and pending. He is fighting an order of deportation. And when the judge got to the position of making a decision to cancel what we call cancel removal, which means not deport him and release him back to the community, it had come to that immigration court's attention that in August of this year, he had missed a court date, the one that we're addressing now. When they became aware of that FTA, instead of concluding the immigration proceeding, they were contacted Fulton County. He was then produced here back to the Fulton County Jail directly from that ICE detention facility. So I don't think he's willfully missed court in any way, Judge. Of course, as soon as he got to Fulton County, he did hire counsel. We filed into the case and, of course, expect to work on his defense, to the best of our ability. So we're asking you to consider recalling the bench warrant in this case, given that he did not willfully fail to appear.
When was he when was he supposed to be? So he was arrested by ICE. He's been in ICE detention. He hasn't been released from ICE at any time?
He has not.
Okay, so he's been released from ICE hold and transported immediately to Rice Street?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, this isn't the only thing holding him. He's currently got a no bond on 24 SC 002519, which is an aggravated assault strangulation against our same victim. So, quite frankly, this is kind of the tip of the iceberg for him. He's got 2 open cases, 1 felony, 1 misdemeanor. The felony is with our same victim. And so since the state doesn't have any documentation regarding the ICE hold, which normally is presented to me, and I know Mr. Brown just came onto this case, but normally that's something we receive before we agree to lift the bench warrant or consent to that. At this point, I can't consent to lift the bench warrant since I have no documentation regarding his continuous hold in custody.
Okay, so the open felony case was from January 4th, 2022, and he was released on a surety bond.
25,000, Your Honor, yes.
From
and that
November
bond was
6th.
then surrendered.
Right. On November 6th, 2023. And then so presently he has a $6,000 bond on the failure to appear, the misdemeanor failure to appear. Would that be correct, Mr. Brown?
If so, Judge, I haven't been made aware of that yet. If that's what the court sees as being filed with that.
That is what I'm showing, Your Honor. Yes.
All right. Do we have the necessary paperwork from ICE? The Office of Immigration Enforcement. I can't remember its acronym. Was it ORS or something?
It's been requested, Judge. I expect I will have it today. If I could be maybe given where you'd like me to send that, along with, of course, with Ms. Falk. I mean, I understand the other issue, but that's, kind of besides the point, the other case. Just trying to talk about the actual bench warrant and just the bench warrant alone and the reason we got here. If I can be permitted to, once I receive that proof of ICE incarceration, I'd be happy to submit that in consideration of a recall of the bench warrant.
Okay. I will set aside the bench warrant once I see documentation from the, I can't remember the name of the division. It's the Immigration Enforcement Division or something fancy, some fancy acronym, but I don't remember. But I'll need to see that to show that he was in custody with Immigration Services on August 23rd of 2024, hence unable to appear before Judge Taylor.
Of course. And what email address should I submit that to?
You will see in the chat, and it'll be from Miss Casey Strong or from Miss April Champion. So one of them will send you the email in the chat.
Got it.
Okay, so please do not leave until you see that on the screen.
I won't.
All right, so are you filing a waiver of arraignment with regards to the trespass and the simple assault charge?
Certainly, Judge. We waive arraignment, enter a plea of not guilty, ask for 10 days to file motions.
All right. Please submit your waiver arraignment to Ms. Strong, who has just sent you her email. And this case is further notice for trial.
I got it.
The bench warrant bond will be, the bench warrant will be set aside upon submission of the documents before 4 p.m. today. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Mhm. Next case in courtroom 2.
It's gonna be position 27 and position 28. Mr. Brandon Wilson.
Wilson, okay. This is State versus Brandon Moore Wilson, accused of a public indecency and criminal trespass, respectively, under cases 24 CR 1794G and 24 CR 7832G. The PI charge is from February 21st of this year, and the criminal trespass is from November 26, 2024. Mr. Wilson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. This is going to be a negotiated plea. Mr. Wilson, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation on this is 12 months served, 90 days, credit for time served 18 days. That's from April 9th to April 11th, 2024, November 26th, 2024 till today, balance probated. SDET, stay away from BP gas station located at 464 Windsor Street, Southwest in Atlanta. On position 28, the criminal trespass, the recommendation is 12 months served 30 days, credit for time served 15 days from November 26, 2024 until today. Balance suspended, stay away from the Quick Trip located at 761 Sidney Marcus Boulevard in Northeast in Atlanta. The state would ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea, and that is all for the state.
So he would have what, 25, 28 days? No,
27 days more. Your Honor.
27 days left. Okay. Okay. Ms. Kim, does your client stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID? Does he accept the terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Wilson, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently? If courtroom 2 could please unmute. Just a minute, sir. Thank you. You were saying, Mr. Wilson, have you consumed any such items?
Oh, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your cases?
I'm not getting on probation, am I?
You will be on probation. Yes, sir.
How long?
You'll be on probation for 1 year less 54 plus 18. Well, let me see, he'll be serving less 45 days.
I've been on probation for 45 days.
1 year less 45 days.
Right.
So he'll be on probation for about 11 and a half months.
I'll get out today.
No, 10 and a half months. I beg your pardon, 10 and a half months. You'll be released within 24 hours if you have no other holds, and then you report to probation on Monday, December.
Your Honor, there's additional
no, sorry.
on this
You're right.
case.
I'm so sorry. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going off script. So, Mr. Wilson, I'm so sorry. You have to be in custody for an additional 27 days. Understood?
Yes.
And then after you've completed the 27 days, then you report to probation, and then you'll be on probation for 10 and a half months. And then once you've completed all the obligations and your probation fees are all to date, then your probation will, well, I haven't heard anything for non-reporting or any comment about that? No?
State would object to non-reporting.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, you'll have to report every month for 10 and a half months and stay away from the 2 locations. Are these the terms to which you've agreed, or did you want to speak to your attorney?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So as I was asking you, You've already indicated you've not consumed any medicine or alcohol. Have you understood now what's going on in your both your cases?
Yes,
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
yes,
And are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
yes,
If you decide to enter this plea, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the opportunity to come back to court to challenge the charges brought against you, confront your accuser, challenge the evidence, present your own defenses and arguments, and have the state carry its burden and prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
No.
Repeat.
yes,
How do you plead to one count of public indecency and one count of criminal trespass?
guilty,
On the PI charge, your sentence is 12 months to serve 90 days, credit for time served 18 days. You have 27 more days to serve at the Fulton County Jail. Once you have served out that time, you report to probation, which is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. You're to report to probation on the immediate first Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday following your release. While you're on probation, you will undergo a SD evaluation and treatment. Your probation officer will explain to you what that is, and you must enroll in that program within 60 days of being released. You're to stay away from the BP gas station at 464 Windsor Street in Southwest Atlanta. With regards to the trespass, that's 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended. And for that particular charge, you are to stay away from the Quick Trip gas station at 761 Sidney Marcus Boulevard in Northeast Atlanta. Thank you.
Next, we can go to the add-on calendar, position number 3 and 4, Mr. Paul Phillips.
This is a negotiated plea as well, Your Honor.
All right. This is State versus Paul Phillips, accused of theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass from November 30th, 2021, under case 23 CR 7346F. Mr. Phillips has a bench warrant for failure to appear on September 9th, 2024, under 24 FTA 1892. Mr. Phillips, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I did.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, I believe this is on the add-on calendar. So I just realized I didn't have my add-on calendar pulled up. So
Oh,
you
no
can
problem.
give me just a moment.
Okay.
All right, we're back on track. So on position 3, the state's recommendation is 12 months served 98 days, credit for time served 47 days from October 23rd, 2024 until today. Balance probated, stay away from the Walmart located at, let's see, 6149 Old National Highway, anti-theft course, 40 hours of community service. On count 2, the state's recommendation is 12 months, concurrent with count 1, stay away from the Walmart located at 6149 Old National Highway. On position 4, the FTA, the state is going to null process that upon the entry of this plea. That's all for the state. We do ask the defense stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea.
Ms. Kim?
One thing that I would like to clarify is it's not 47 days. He has been here at 48 days. So he has to serve just one more day. I was wondering if that one more day can be reduced.
Yes, we can agree to do 96 days, credit for time served 48 days.
Thank you.
PD Kim, my apologies for not reaching back out to you on that. You were trying to clarify that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Ms. Kim, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do.
Mr. Phillips, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to enter a plea of guilt to these 2 charges, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence and arguments presented in a court of law, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you entering your plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass?
Yes, ma'am. Guilty.
Your sentence for the theft by shoplifting is 12 months to serve 96 days, credit for time served 48 days. If you have no other cases holding you, then your jail time would be concluded. You will report to probation on Monday, December 16th before 3 p.m. While you're on probation, you're to stay away from the Walmart at 6149 Old National Highway. You're to enroll and complete an anti-theft class within 60 days of being released, and you have to do 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school, and you'll complete your community service at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month. For the trespass, is 12 months concurrent with count 1, and stay away from the Walmart in question. That concludes your case. Thank you. And the bench warrants dismissed. Anyone in courtroom 2? Mr. White, is there anyone in courtroom 2?
No, Judge.
All right. Anyone chiming in? Okay, I'm going to take a brief 2-minute recess and I will be right back. So, oh, medical just popped in. Medical, do you have someone? All right. Miss Kim, are you Mr. White, are you expecting anyone from medical to?
No, Your Honor, I don't have any other cases.
All right.
I'll check. I don't think so, but I'll double check, Your Honor.
I have 2 bench warrants on the calendar at 11 a.m. Corey Barham and Christopher Daniels, third, and Emery Reynolds.
There it is. There you go.
1 second.
Oh yeah, he wanted to have a bond argument. It's a waiver of arraignment, and yet he was wondering if he can get a signature on bond
All right.
for his case.
And who is this individual?
Let me get the name, Your Honor.
Medical, who do we have, please?
I'm not sure the position number, but this is Mr. Adrian Sidwell.
Position 26.
Okay. Adrian Sidwell is accused of theft by shoplifting and simple battery under accusation 24 CR 78088. Mr. Sidwell, my name is Judge Lal. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this morning is Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, am I correct that you are, okay, this is going to be a waiver of arraignment, so this will be an entry of a not guilty plea. The case is going to be further notice for trial. And let me see, what is Mr. Sidwell's current bond?
He has a $1,000 bond. Judge Morrow issued that bond on November 26th for $500 each count.
All right. Mr. York, do you have Mr. Sidwell's GCIC, please? He is position 26.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. That's what I was trying to find his position, to find his name. So give me 1 second to pull it up.
It appears that Mr. Sidwell had a bench warrant from, I'm not sure from which case, but it looks like he was arrested on a bench warrant on September 4th, 2024. He had a prior bench warrant arrest from December 23, 2023. Unfortunately, Ms. Kim, due to these bench warrants, as you know, under the new Senate bill, doesn't qualify for a signature bond.
Your Honor, he's also on active probation from a plea that he entered before Your Honor on September 19th of 2024, where he entered a plea to criminal trespass and 2 counts of battery and received 12 months served 32 days, credit for time served 16 days, and to stay away from the CVS at 842 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta. So there has been, he's currently on active probation right now and just pled guilty less than 3 months ago and now has a new offense, which I believe may have been the impetus for Judge Morrow giving him a surety bond on this case, when normally Judge Morrow would consider a different type of bond given the circumstances.
Ms. Kim, anything else to add?
Nothing at all, actually. But however, he does have MH concern, but he has been trying to, he's willing to do ankle monitor if it's necessary and be out of the jail. He said that he was actually shot by someone there. He pleads not guilty.
All right. So, unfortunately, as I've already indicated, he doesn't qualify for a signature bond based on his recent criminal record history and the fact that he is on open active probation. If there is an issue of entrapment, then that's something that can definitely come up during the course of a preliminary hearing or a trial.
Can it be changed to $100 surety cash bond, because he's having a hard time to find a bonding company for $1,000 bond?
Any objection, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. Given his history of FTAs, I need somebody who can pick him up.
His
And that
sister.
would be in a bonding company.
Oh, bonding company. Okay.
Yeah, if he FTAs again, as he has 2 times already.
I see. We'll keep it at a surety bond.
Yes.
Of course,
Thank
he
you.
can always put up $1,000 or even through real estate. I mean, but he just doesn't qualify. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sidwell, your case is going to be further notice for trial. Your bond remains at $1,000 surety. Thank you. Courtroom 2, since we don't have anyone else, Mr. White, were you planning to represent anyone on the bench warrant calendar?
Judge, I wasn't aware that there was a bench warrant calendar, but if Ms. Kim needs me to, of course, yes.
I'm ready to do the bench warrant calendar.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, the real reason we scheduled them at 11 a.m. and there's no one here yet on the 11 a.m. calendar. So I'm just going to go over the calendars right now. On
Okay.
Milton Brown, position 1 and 2 on our add-on, this is going to be reset to December 17th. And then position 3 and 4, 3 was a plea and 4 was a null pros. On the state all-purpose calendar, I feel like we haven't addressed a lot of cases, but y'all let me know what's going on, okay? On position 1 is Daryl Calloway, and that's a position 1 and 2. And this is going to be a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Position 3, Cambrell Carter, is reset to December 17th. Position number 4, this was a plea. Position 5 was null pros. Position number 6 is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. The bench warrant will be set aside once we receive paperwork from defense counsel. Position 7, Cortez Vasquez. That's going to be a waiver and further notice for trial. Fields is going to be a waiver and further notice for trial. That's position 8 through 10. For position 11, Freeman is a waiver and further notice for trial. For position 12 is a waiver and further notice for trial. For position 13, Jordan, have we transferred that?
Your Honor, position 12?
No, 13, Jaron Jordan.
Oh, apologies. Really quick. What is the announcement on position 12? Is that a waiver of arraignment as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Position 13, I requested a transfer from the DA's office. I have not heard back from them at this time. So I will reiterate my request and ask to reset this to next Tuesday.
This is reset to December 17th, pending a possible transfer. Otherwise, if not transferred, the state can always present an offer to the defense counsel.
understand.
Position 14 is a plea, 15 is a plea, 16 is null pros, 17 is a plea, 18 is null pros, 19 is a plea, 20 is a plea, 21, Tyree Moore is going to be a waiver and further notice for trial. Position 22 is Brandon Nichols is going to be a waiver and further notice for trial. Position 23 is Robbins, and that is reset to December 17th. 24 is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Bond modification was denied. 25, Nicholas Shedrick is going to be reset to December 19th at 11 a.m. for our competency calendar. Position 26 is a waiver of arraignment, further notice for trial. Count 2 bond was amended. Ms. Kim, can you present me with the bond modification order for count 2?
Yes.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Position 27, Brandon Wilson was a plea. 28 was a plea. 29, Woods was a plea. 30 was null pros. And
Your
so
Honor, I'm sorry. I may have lost this. Adrian Sidwell, what was the bond modified to?
I don't think we did.
I didn't think it was a bond modification, but maybe I'm incorrect. I know there was a bond modification on the case that involved Miss Kelsey.
Sidwell. No, Sidwell is correct.
Okay.
Remains the same. There was one case where I amended it to a 500 signature bond through the jail. Oh, that was the gentleman in ICE, Vasquez.
Correct.
Okay,
Well,
sorry about that.
No. That was not the ICE case. That was the gentleman represented by, that was Montreal Freeman on 11.
Okay, that was the one. I knew it was one of them.
Yeah.
That was one. Who was representing Mr. Keynes?
I still am judge. I'll get
Okay,
it.
so Mr. White will submit the proposed order, amending that part to a 500 signature bond through the jail. All right, so if we have no other jail cases, which I don't believe we do, then we'll just be in recess until 11 a.m. when the 4 individuals show up for their motions to set aside the bench warrant. If they do appear, their names are Corey Barham, Christopher Daniels, there are 3 individuals, excuse me, and Emery Reynolds. Ms. Kim, have you spoken to all 3 of them?
Actually, the first one I spoke, and the other one I emailed and left a message. I have not been able to speak.
Okay, if they show up, then use that opportunity to speak, and then I will be back by 11 a.m. I'll be in recess until 11 a.m. Okay?
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right. This is Judge Lal. I'm just checking in to see if any of the individuals have reported in for the bench warrant calendar. I am looking for Corey Barham. If you're present, please unmute and start your video. Christopher Daniels, and Emery Reynolds. All right, Corey Barham,
Good morning.
good morning. Have you had a chance to speak to one of the defense attorneys?
I spoke with the public defender, Ms. J. Kim.
Okay, and I see Mr. Antonio Reynolds is also present. Mr. Reynolds, have you had a chance to speak to a public defense attorney?
Yes.
All right. Is Christopher Daniels present?
Yes, Christopher Daniels is here.
You need to start your video, please. We cannot address your case unless the video is on. If the host will please, okay, that's good. Mr. Daniels, have you spoken to a public defense attorney or do you have your own attorney?
No, I haven't spoken to one yet.
All right. Ms. Kim, have you spoken to Mr. Daniels?
Not yet. I left a message and I also emailed, but I have not been able to talk to him.
All right. So let's address the two cases we have presently. And Mr. Daniels, please mute your screen, keep your video on, and then you'll need to speak to a public defense attorney unless you want to represent yourself or hire an attorney. Okay? All right.
Okay, yeah.
Gentlemen, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Daniels, and Mr. Barham. My name is Judge Lal. We are addressing your bench warrants that have been issued against you for failure to appear in court. Today, we're going to address your motions to set aside the bench warrant. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during this virtual and recorded proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one would be appointed to represent you. We begin with Corey Barham, 23 CR 5782F, accused of simple battery family violence. Mr. Barham, you have been advised of your rights and your attorney is Ms. Kim. All right, let me just see if I can get this window to work. All right, Ms. Kim, your client failed to appear in court and a bench warrant was issued. This was back on November 13th, 2024. And looks like we've not been able to get good addresses on this person. He's had 2 bond forfeitures already. Let me see. Then finally, we got an address change on December 2nd, 2024. He had another bond forfeiture on December 2nd, 2024. I'm not sure what's going on. So please ask me why he shouldn't report to the jail today.
Your Honor, actually, there was a unit missing in that mailing address, so it never went to my client, Mr. Corey Barham.
What was missing?
Unit number for the apartment. It was just sent to a general place without unit number.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm just looking to see if there was what information the defendant gave the jail. when he was
I don't know
released.
what address he provided, but let me see.
Right, that's what I'm trying to find.
Miss Strong or Miss Champion, can you tell me what was the prior address before it was updated?
Which position is this?
This is position number 1, Corey Barham on the bench warrant calendar. I don't have the intake, access to the intake documents, so.
Looks like the DC address. Was
A
this the
DC
one initially from 2023 is the one you're inquiring about?
Yes?
Yes.
It says it's at Jackson Street in DC.
Jackson Street, Washington, DC?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this is 2023. I mean, I don't understand why 2021 case
No,
addressed.
this is a September 26, 2023 case.
Yes,
And when he was booked in, he provided us with an address from Washington, DC. And then on December 2nd was the only address change notice that we've got. And it says Lenox Road, apartment E5.
So Judge, he has two for 2023. The notice was sent to Armorer Drive in Atlanta. In
415 Armour Drive in Northeast Atlanta, okay? What was the unit number that was supposed to be on Armour Drive?
Are you asking me to speak, ma'am?
No, I'm asking your attorney to speak. I'm assuming that you gave all this information to your attorney.
yes, I'm trying to see the address change. It's actually totally different address, 2572 Lenox Road, Northeast E5 is
That's his current address. That's the one he
Right.
gave us on December 2nd. So prior to the times that he's booked in, he's got actually not only this case, he's got a prior case, 23 CR 005783E. So he's got two cases. And I'm trying to figure out at which juncture did he give us the correct address?
I do not know the answer, Your Honor. Can I ask my client to address that?
Sure.
What it is, the address you guys have, the Washington DC address is my address for my ID. That's what's still on the address for that. But the unit number should have been 3202 for 415 Armour Drive.
But you never provided us with any updates.
And I did not provide any updates until I moved. I just moved in November, end of November. That was the reason why I searched the case to find out what was going on. And then with searching the case and found out, that's when I found out the bench warrant was out.
And yet when you were booked in 2020, what was this? When you were booked into the Fulton County Jail on September 27, 2023, you provided us with the Lenox Road address.
That was 2024, September.
But you didn't change your address with your other case?
No, ma'am. I honestly, that time it had slipped my mind, honestly. That's when I moved and everything, that's when I thought about it. I said, let me go into the system.
Okay,
Sure, everything
I'm
was
trying
done.
to figure out at what point did we mess up on your address, or whether this was simply your failure to update the court with your correct address. Because when you have an open pending criminal case and you change address, or your driver's license address has been changed, it is the defendant's responsibility to update the court. We don't get to investigate this to figure out where you live.
Understood.
This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
why you've got a bench warrant, because you didn't show up in court.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Falk, anything to add?
No, Your Honor, I've looked kind of backwards and forwards through this. I don't know if Miss P.D. Kim has communicated the offer to the defendant, which would be for time served.
Your Honor, which is time served, as long as he gets no further violent contact, I believe that should be okay with my client. This case has
Carrie Wilson, where is Carrie Wilson? Ms. Falk, have you conferred with Carrie Wilson?
Let me just take a look at one thing, Your Honor. I know that we had previous contact, so let me just take a look at the notes to see what her wishes are. So the issue with this, Your Honor, and let me just
a
double
minute.
check.
Mr. Barham, stop walking around. You need to be seated and not move around. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Falk.
Your Honor, the issue with this, and let me just see, the case is still open against, this is a cross warrant case. The warrant is still open. The case is still open on Miss Wilson, and as part of her conditions for order of release, she was to stay away from Mr. Barham. So I can't modify his condition to have no further violent contact because she's not allowed to have contact with him.
All right. Yeah, Miss Kim, it's going to be no further contact. Otherwise, he's free to enter a not guilty plea and have the case scheduled for trial.
Okay.
Mr. Barham, what would you like to do? Would you like to proceed with the plea or would you like to plead not guilty? You need to unmute.
I would like to go on with trial due to the fact that me and Mrs. Kyrie Wilson has had a baby 14 days ago, so we're still in contact. That the situation with this case was taken out of hand.
Mr. Cora, you have a right to remain silent. You don't have to say anymore.
He
Please.
just said it.
Yeah, not only that, now that I'm looking at their Miss Wilson's address change, her address change is 2572 Lenox Road, H14 in Atlanta, Georgia. The same one as the defendants.
Modify the bonds condition for both of them.
I think it's a little, not to criticize PD Kim, but I think it's a little disingenuous to ask for a bond modification when they've been willfully violating the bond this entire time.
This is not anything that Miss Kim is responsible for.
No, I understand.
Mr. Barham received a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, and the condition was the bond, no contact with Carrie Wilson. No contact at all. Which meant staying 200 yards away from her, not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And unless there was a court order to amend it, he was required to have no contact with her. But now that they've had a kid about 14 days ago, clearly contact was a lot more than just mere talking to each other. And of course, Miss Wilson also has the same signature bond in which she was required to have no contact with Corey Barnham. Mr. Barham, your request to set aside the bench warrants denied. You're to report to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow, which will be December 11th, 2024. The reasons that I'm denying your request for a bench warrant is because you have failed to update the court with your current mailing address. The fact you did not get your notices was because you did not provide us with your correct mailing address until after those court dates were scheduled. The second reason I'm denying your motion to set aside the bench warrant, by your own admission, by your own statements, you are in violation of the bond order that was granted to you. The bond order required you to have no contact with Ms. Wilson, to stay 200 yards away from you and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Your bond is going to be set at $1,500 surety. No further violent contact with Carrie Wilson, no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. And within 30 days of being released from the Fulton County Jail, you will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program at your expense. This is a 26-week domestic violence program in which you would need to begin your classes immediately upon enrollment, pay for those classes out of your own pocket, and make sure you attend all 26 weeks of those classes. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Miss Kim, are you planning to continue representing him?
It will be deferred to trial public defender.
It will?
Yeah, division judge. Yes.
All right. So this will be, I just need to know who's filing the waiver of arraignment.
I can do it now.
All right. So
Yes.
this will be a waiver of arraignment and a not guilty plea.
Yes.
So Barham, please report to the Fulton County Jail before 5 p.m. tomorrow, December 11th. I'll do that order, Miss Kim. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Barham, you're free to go. Please, if you are still in communication with Miss Wilson, please tell Miss Wilson, according to your statement, she's in violation of a bond order, but we don't have any evidence to that effect other than your statement. But I'm going to let the prosecutor decide how they want to proceed with her case. It'll be highly recommended that she speak to an attorney and try to get this matter resolved. Thank you. All right, next case is with Mr. Emery Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds was accused of battery, family violence from August 27th, 2024. Mr. Reynolds, your case number is 24 CR 006-066C. Mr. Reynolds, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. So with regards to Mr. Reynolds' case,
Your Honor, if we can change no further contact to no further violent contact, I think my client is willing to take the plea deal.
Hopefully this will go a little better than the first one. Let me just check the notes on this. The victim is agreeable to no further violent contact, so we can modify that portion of the recommendation, and we're ready to move forward.
all right. So Mr. Emery Reynolds, you have spoken to Attorney Kim, would that be correct?
That's correct.
All right, you'll need to speak a little louder so I can hear you.
That's
Mr.
correct.
Reynolds, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation?
State's recommendation is 12 months served, 10 days, credit for time served 5 days from August 27th to the 31st of 2024. Balance probated FVIP, ADET, no further violent contact with Antonio Reynolds and Emery Reynolds Jr. I'm assuming stay away from 8601 Roberts Drive in Sandy Springs. That we're going to remove the stay away provisions since it is no further violent contact, and we are asking for no firearms as well.
Ms. Kim, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do.
All right. Mr. Reynolds, do you accept these terms as the prosecutor has indicated?
Yes, except there's no Emery Jr. I have a daughter named Emily Reynolds.
That's what we
my
have on the-
apologies.
That's
when I
okay.
saw when I saw Emery Reynolds, I thought there was a typo and that it was a junior.
Okay. So I have Emily Reynolds on the bond order. Mr. Reynolds, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, I have not.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes, I have.
Are you satisfied with the legal services you've received?
I didn't understand.
Are you satisfied with the legal services you received from Ms. Kim?
Yes, I am.
Are you entering this guilty plea to battery, family violence freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, I am.
If you decide to enter such a plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial. You will not have an opportunity to go back to court in the future to challenge this charge in a court of law. You will not be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence presented against you, present your arguments and defenses, and have the prosecutor prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
I am.
How do you plead to one count of battery, family violence from August 27th, 2024?
It was simple battery.
Has the charge been reduced, Ms. Falk?
No, the state didn't reduce the charge. The allegation is battery for causing swelling.
No, it was on the police report. Simple.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
on the police report, it was simple battery, domestic violence. When you were booked at the Fulton County Jail, the prosecutor upgraded the charge and the accusation says battery, family violence. So based on this information that you clearly are now apprised of, do you still want to move forward with the plea, or would you like to plead not guilty and have a trial?
I proceed.
So you
Sure.
understand that the accusation and the current charge against you is battery, family violence.
Yes,
Do you accept that?
yes,
And you understand that if you plead guilty to this charge, if you are arrested in the future for the same charge, it will automatically be a felony charge.
yes.
How do you plead to one count of battery, family violence?
I didn't hear you well.
How do you plead to one count of battery family violence?
No content.
Was that the understanding, Miss Kim, Miss Falk, that he was pleading no contest?
No, I thought he was plead guilty.
Okay, I'll plead guilty.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
if you disagree with the plea offer, you can plead not guilty and ask for a trial. And I'll go back to considering your bench warrant.
Guilty.
I'm sorry, sir?
Guilty. Guilty.
I accept your guilty plea. Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 5 days. So you don't have any additional jail time. You will be on probation. Today is Tuesday, December 10th. You will report to probation next Monday, December 16th. And the probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Right.
I live in Sandy Springs.
That doesn't matter. You still have to travel to downtown Atlanta.
She's not saying anything.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, I'm still here.
No, who is that woman yelling in the background? She needs to
My
come
wife.
on the screen.
My wife,
Who? What's her name?
Antonia.
Antonia Reynolds, the person whom you're not supposed to be living with.
Okay, I need access.
I need Mrs. Reynolds on the screen.
She's working on a computer. I don't know.
This plea is off. No, he's in
No.
violation of his bond order.
No.
Yes.
What I need to do, I'll do whatever.
Mrs. Reynolds not going to agree. She needs to be
Okay,
on the
let me
screen.
get her.
She needs to be on the screen or this is off.
Okay.
Unbelievable. All right.
You hear that, Tony?
Now they're going to have a tussle about whether she should show up in court.
My bond. Look at her personally. Hi. Hello.
Hello, what's your name, please?
Antonia Reynolds.
Miss Reynolds, please raise your
Yes.
right hand. Please raise your right hand. This is Judge Law. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
That's correct.
All right. Mr. Emery Reynolds was given a signature bond back on August 28th, 2024. In that bond, he was not required to pay for his bond. No, he received a $2,000 good bond, excuse me. He was required to have no contact with Antonia Reynolds and to stay away from 8601 Roberts Drive. So I'm going to assume that he's currently living at 8601 Roberts Drive. Would that be accurate?
That's the incorrect address. We moved from that location.
All right. And there has been no change in the court order that he is, that he can have contact with you.
That's my husband. We've been married for 32
This is
years.
Mrs. Reynolds. There was a court order requiring him to stay 200 yards away from you, not communicate with you, and not live with you. Now we find out that he's in violation of that order.
Okay.
Which means that his bond shall be revoked and he needs to go back to jail.
Okay.
So the next time when he's talking, you should not be screaming in the background. Do you understand?
Yes, I'm working.
Because you've just landed him in a pot of hot soup.
Okay.
All right, now you're free to go. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I want you back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reynolds, your bench warrant request is going to be denied. You are to surrender yourself to the Fulton County Jail.
Been denied.
Yes, sir.
May I say something?
Please, the right to remain silent. Please do not say anything. If I were you, I would not say anything. Mr. Antonio.
What that mean?
I'm going to jail.
No. Sir, no. Can I come and talk to her? Can I talk to her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I talk to her? No, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. You go talk to her, Mom. Where you go?
Mr. Reynolds, do you understand why I'm sending you back to jail?
No, ma'am.
You were required to have no contact with with Antonio Reynolds. Your bond order says that you cannot live with her and you're to stay 200 yards away from her. But apparently you've been in violation of this bond order and you continue to live with her and have contact with her. Do you understand,
Okay,
sir?
I won't be here.
You won't what?
I will not be here.
What does Mrs. Reynolds want to say? Miss Reynolds, what do you want to say?
She will have to go.
You need to come in front of the screen.
Sit over in the chair. Sit in the chair. She has to see. Hi. He will have to find somewhere else to go.
Mrs. Reynolds, do you realize both you and he were complicit in violating a bond order?
Yes. Well, this is new to me, so this is something new.
All right. I just instructed you not to be yelling in the background.
Mhm.
I'm really ticked off with the way the both of you have disrespected the court. Now you need to leave and go into another room and not talk at all.
Okay, me?
Go.
Me?
Go. Unbelievable. Mr. Reynolds, we're going to continue with your plea. We're going to set aside the bench warrant. Now listen very carefully. I'm not going to send you to jail, but if you decide to proceed with this plea, you're going to have to comply with these conditions. And if you don't, I will have your probation revoked. Do you understand?
I understand.
And I don't want any excuses. Do you have a pen and paper?
Yes.
Okay. As I was asking you, how do you plead to battery, family violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 5 days. You'll be on probation. Your first probation report date is December 16th, 2024, before 3 p.m. You must report to court on Monday, December 16th at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Within 30 days from today, you are to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program, and you must start attending and completing all the classes. There are 26 weekly classes, and you must start those classes and pay for those classes out of your own pocket. Understood?
Understood.
That's within 30 days. Within 15 days, you are to submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. You are to have no further violent contact with Antonio Reynolds and Emily Reynolds. And you're not allowed to own, possess, or have any firearms in your home, on your person, or in any vehicle you occupy. You understand, sir?
Understand.
All right. You must report to probation every month until the remainder of the 12 months are completed. You must also pay your probation fees every month and make sure you're up to date. Thank you. Did you give Miss Kim authority to sign the plea paperwork?
No, I did not.
Would you like to give her the authority to sign the plea paperwork on your behalf?
This wasn't our agreement when I spoke with her earlier. Um, she told me, this would be rectified easily. I didn't expect all of this.
So you don't want to take the plea?
Huh?
Do you? Mr. Reynolds, I'm a little confused. I thought you wanted to
Yes,
take
I'm
the
listening.
plea.
I think I'll go to trial.
Okay. This plea offer is off. The bench warrant is set aside. Mr. Reynolds, you will report to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow, December 11th. Your bond is going to be set at 1,000. It is a surety bond. Excuse me, a surety bond. No further violent contact with the victims. And within 30 days of being
My
released.
wife, I'm
I'm
sorry.
not
Your
listening
Honor.
anymore. I'm done. I'm done.
No, I'm gonna take the plea. I'm sorry. I
No,
take the
sir,
plea.
I'm done. I'm done. Within 30 days of being
I'm gonna
released.
take the plea, man.
I'm done, Mr. Reynolds.
Come on, it's Christmas time. Give me a break.
I'm not giving you a break. I've already given you several breaks.
I'm guilty, okay? I give up.
Miss Kim, you're gonna have to talk to him and get authority to go over the items with him.
Yes.
And then you're gonna talk to Mr. Daniels first. I want you to talk to Mr. Daniels first and then talk to Mr. Reynolds. And I'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Daniel, I need your phone number. The one that I have keeps going into the voicemail, and I was not able to leave. I left 2 messages. I was not able to hold of you. What's the number? You can text me or chat. Or you can call me at 404-612-1122. Can you call me at 612-1122?
Let me write it down right quick.
No problem.
Okay, you you
404 1122. I'm ready to answer.
one
1122.
Okay, 404-622-1122.
612.
612-1122.
612-1122.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Miss Strong, are they still in a breakout?
Excuse me, Your Honor, the defendant was supposed to call Miss Kim. Miss Kim gave him her number to call, so I'm not quite sure if they're still talking on the phone.
Oh,
We are still talking on the phone, Your Honor. Give me
and that's
one.
with Mr. Reynolds?
This is with Mr. Daniels.
Oh, Mr.
Chris-
Daniels, excuse me. Okay. Have you spoken to Mr. Reynolds?
Not yet, Your Honor.
All right, let's wrap it up real fast. This is just a bench warrant, not a,
Thank you. Yes, I
all right,
will.
thank you.
What's the therapy order?
Yes, Your Honor, we are ready to proceed.
Okay, so this is going to be with Christopher Michael Daniels,
Yes, Your Honor.
accused of battery family violence from March 1st of 2023. Mr. Daniels, where is he? It's Christopher Daniels. Need to unmute and start your video.
I will text him. Oh, but he didn't give me his number, Your Honor. I gave my number to him.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
he's present on the Zoom. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and rename him to Mr. Daniels, please. All right, perfect. Okay. So Mr. Daniels has been advised of his rights, and this is his motion to set aside the bench warrant that was issued in his case. This is from November 20th, 2024. Yes, and what would we like to consider?
Your Honor, we would like to do a non-negotiated plea. I believe that my client believes that Ms. Tavares Daniels, his son's mother, is willing to have no further violent contact.
That's Keisha Harris? Is that Miss Harris?
Oh, I meant to say Keisha Harris. I apologize.
All right. And does he give you authority to sign the plea paperwork?
Oh, Mr. Daniels? Oh, Mr. Daniels does not accept the plea deal as is right now because he has to serve 11 more days in jail if we take the deal. So
I'm talking about Christopher Daniels. Is that the individual who's going to non-negotiate a plea? Miss Kim, I'm a little confused. Which defendant are you addressing?
number 2, Daniel Christopher, Michael Christopher. I believe it was Antonia Reynolds, Emery Reynolds, who is willing to let me sign the plea paperwork.
No, I'm asking you. Christopher Daniels you are about to start a non-negotiated plea, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
In the event that the plea moves forward, has Mr. Daniels given you authority to sign the plea paperwork?
Yes.
All right. That's what I wanted to establish. Okay.
Yes.
In that case, Mr. Daniels, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge for purposes of this plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is going to be a non-negotiated plea, which means that the prosecutor is going to give me one set of recommendations, and your attorney is going to give me another set of recommendations. I'm going to hear the circumstances, your criminal record history, and make a decision as to which option I'm going to consider, keeping in mind that I can disregard either option and further notice this for whatever is left to be addressed in your case. So, Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation for Mr. Christopher Daniels?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months served 30 days, credit for time served 4 days from October 11th, 2024 to October 14th, 2024, balance probated, no further contact with Keisha Harris, stay away from 1539 Harbin Road, Southwest in Atlanta, family violence intervention program, and no firearms. Looking at Mr. Daniels' history, he has a total of 7 cycles. His most recent arrest was on September 16th of 2024. Prior to this incident was September 16th of 2024 for aggravated assault and aggravated battery in Clayton County. Looking at that case, and I'm just trying to confirm that. Let's see. It looks like that case is still pending in Clayton County. He also has a driving while license suspended from February 8th of 2022. Arrest for driving without a valid license in 2018, and a 1991 arrest for simple battery. It's not showing a disposition for that simple battery. So he also has other offenses dating back all the way to 1990. And so the reason the state requested some additional jail time is for 2 reasons. One, because of that aggravated assault, aggravated battery arrest. The second is because this incident on May 1st, 2023, was the defendant showing up to Miss Harris's home unannounced. She did not open the door for him. He then damaged the window to her residence, climbed through the window, which is how he made entry into the home, pushed her down on a table, and she sustained minor bruises to her left wrist. A minor child was also at the location but did not observe the incident, and that's what led us to ask for 30 days in jail as well as those conditions. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification if they do go forward with this plea, and we would like to sound for Ms. Keisha Harris.
Ms. Keisha Harris, if you're present, please unmute and start your video.
And Keisha H is at the bottom right-hand corner of my Zoom screen.
Ms. Harris, if you'd like to be addressed on this case, you need to start your video. The host, please prompt her to start video.
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
All right, Ms. Harris, my name is Judge Law. Would you like to address this case? I can't hear her. Can you all hear her?
Her audio isn't connected.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for Ms. Harris to get her technical situation squared away. Ms. Kim?
Yes, we would like to say I have a time served, so there's no more jail time, and also no further violent contact. This happened in 2023, and egg assault in Clayton County. He's presumed to be innocent. There's no conviction there, and Your Honor, all the other cases are very old and remote. Thank you.
And who's the victim in the Clayton County case? Would that be Ms. Harris as well?
Your Honor, at this point, we are not sure who the victim is in the aggravated assault case. I know that it wasn't an aggravated assault family violence, but I cannot state for sure that it was not Ms. Harris.
All right. Keisha Harris, you are the only person we're waiting on before I move forward with this case. All right. Based on the my reading of the warrant, based on Ms. Harris, can you hear us? Ms. Harris, your Zoom has no audio connections. We cannot hear you, and you cannot hear us. I don't know. All right, we cannot hear you at all, so your microphone is not connected to the Zoom. All right. Based on my reading of the warrant, based on Mr. Daniels being arrested and charged with battery family violence on March 1st, 2023, and in less than 2 years, he gets arrested for another violent offense. Yes, he is presumed innocent of those charges. However, these are serious felony charges that have been brought against Mr. Daniels. I'm also not certain as to why he's not complied with maintaining a current address with the court, hence resulting in his failure to appear. And I'm not certain as to what Ms. Harris is going to say. So at the present time, based on the best information I have, I'm going to accept the state's recommendation. If Mr. Daniels wants to enter a plea, he'll be required to do, I believe, 8 or 9 more days at the Fulton County Jail, after which he'll be on probation to complete domestic violence classes, have no contact with Keisha Harris, no firearms, and to stay away from the Harbin Road or wherever Ms. Harris lives. Ms. Kim, would your client like to move forward?
No, Your Honor. If that's the case, he's not going to move forward.
All right, then the plea offer is rejected. So let's address his bench warrant. Why didn't he show up in court on November 20th?
He believes that he never got the mails, but I don't see any return notice. So I don't, that's the only thing that I can tell.
All right. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, all I'm seeing is that the defendant failed to appear at his arraignment on November 20th, 2024, and his bond was ordered forfeited. And then about 12 days after that is when he filed this notice to amend his address. Prior to that, it does not show he made any attempt to amend the address. I'm not showing a return of service, nothing that would indicate he did not receive notice. And he was on a $1,000 surety bond when this occurred.
Anything else, Ms. Kim?
Nothing further from defense.
All right. The request to set aside the bench warrant is denied. Mr. Daniels shall surrender himself to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow, December 11th. His bond is going to be set at $2,000 good bond. He's to have no further contact with Keisha Harris and to stay away from wherever she lives, works, or wherever she's physically located. Thank you. His next court date will be sent to him based on his current address in Winder, I think. I've got a Winder. Is that his current address?
That's what we have listed, Your Honor. We have the address of, it looks like a 1702 Snapping Court in Winder, Georgia, 30680. I will need Mr. Daniels to confirm that because I'm not sure what that last number is on the paperwork.
Your Honor, there's a meeting chat from Miss Keisha.
I've been
saying-
reading it, but she needs to unmute, so she can deal with it at the next hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Daniels, do we have your correct address at Winder, Georgia? You need to unmute and confirm your address.
Yeah, there it is. Unmute. That's all you got to do is press on the damn.
Excuse me, Mr. Daniels?
No, I'm trying to.
Yeah,
figure-
you don't get to use that language. The only thing I'm asking you is, do we have your current address at this time?
I'm so sorry. I've been having problems with my phone. I'm using someone else's phone and I was not able to get the phone to work properly.
Okay.
I apologize for the
That's fine, Miss Harris. We've
technical
already,
difficulty.
that's fine. He's going to jail tomorrow. And once he sets a bond, the only question I have to ask you is, do you want contact with him?
Yes, ma'am. I will contact him.
All right.
It was a whole misunderstanding. Not in my mind at that time. I was drinking at that time.
Okay. Please
Okay, so
contact.
I really appreciate
Please
it.
contact the Victim Advocate's Office at the Solicitor General's and give them this information so they can decide how they want to proceed with the prosecution of this matter.
Okay.
Ms.
Well,
Kim,
why did you go back?
Ms. Kim, we will amend this to no further violent contact with Keisha Harris.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, but the bond still remains the same, $2,000 good bond, and he'll need to report to the jail before 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank
Your
you.
Honor, just to clarify, I still need Mr. Daniels to
And
confirm his address because
Why did you have to go to jail?
the paperwork is not clear.
All right, Mr. Daniels, we're still waiting for you to confirm your address. Mr. Daniels, you have to unmute and confirm your address.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
I mean, it looks like it's getting ready to be at the jail. I mean, the victim just told you that it was a misunderstanding, but my address is going to be at the jail.
Mr. Daniels, I'm going to increase your bond by another 1,000 if I don't get your correct mailing address.
1702 Snapping Court, Winder, Georgia, 30680.
Thank you.
All right. The prosecution has the information to decide whether they want to move forward with this case. The decision to prosecute is not up to the victim, it's up to the prosecutor. So if Ms. Harris wants to give any more information to the prosecutor, please contact the Victim Advocate's Office at the Solicitor General's Division so that she can make sure she updates the information with the prosecution. But the decision to prosecute is with the Solicitor General, not with the victim. All right, thank you. Mr. Kim, I will draft this order as well. Okay, so we are back to Ms. Harris, you're free to go. Mr. Daniels, you're free to go. I don't know who this Tavares Daniels is, but all right. We're going back to Emery Reynolds. All right. Ms. Kim, have you spoken to Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
All right, and how are we proceeding?
Proceeding with a plea, and he authorizes me to sign.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, we're going to continue with your case 24 CR 006-066C.
Yes.
Last time we spoke, you indicated that you had not given any authority to your public defense attorney to sign for the documents and that you believed that you were pleading guilty to something that was not discussed. Has that issue been corrected?
Yes.
And do you understand what you're pleading guilty to?
Yes.
And so with regard to the battery family violence, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right. As I've already indicated, it's 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 5 days. You will report to probation on Monday, December 16th before 3 p.m. While on probation, you will enroll in a domestic violence intervention class program. These are 26 classes that you would have to complete, and you must enroll within 30 days from today. You're also to have no further violent contact with Antonio Reynolds and Emily Reynolds, which means that you can continue to live with her, and that you're not allowed to own or possess or have any firearms. That concludes your plea. We will see you at the probation office this Monday before 3 p.m. Any questions, sir?
No.
All right. You're free to go then. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So on the bench warrant matter, I will submit the proposed orders for positions 1 and 2. And then Ms. Kim, you will submit the plea paperwork for position 3.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other questions about the SAP calendar that we've had this morning? No? Okay. Finishing right at 11:59. Thank you, Ms. Greenhouse. Thank you, everyone. You'll have a good day. We'll see you
no,
next Thursday. Thank you.
I apologize, but I just got a text from one of my clients. I guess the first one, he wanted to know if we can reschedule the date to report to the jail because of the newborn baby.
Tomorrow's the 11th. I will amend his to December 12th. I'll give him 48 hours to report.
Thanks, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.